Chery has added another super hybrid SUV to its lineup. This is the Tiggo 9, a 3-row plug-in hybrid SUV with huge EV driving range, a lot of luxury features, and a price tag that might surprise you. And in this review, I'm going to tell you all about it, show you inside, we'll get into the third row and see how spacious it is, and also I will tell you what it's like to drive. So let's go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Tiggo 9 time. Look, you might think of Chery as a cheap brand, but this is not a cheap SUV. In fact, it has a very long list of standard equipment and still a pretty low price point that is better than some other 3-row SUVs without plug-in hybrid tech. And I think for around $60,000, you are getting a whole lot of family-friendly SUV and heaps of features too. Let's talk about what you're getting standard. There's full LED lighting all around the vehicle. You've also got 20-inch alloy wheels, but you don't get a spare wheel, just a tyre repair kit. You get a panoramic sunroof with tilt and slide and a power sunshade as well, power tailgate, heated power folding exterior mirrors. You've also got acoustic glass, there's puddle lights, proximity entry and start, and it can park itself as well. On the inside, you're getting leather upholstery, proper leather, with 6-way power adjustable front seats, including heating, ventilation and massage functions and thigh support extension. You've also got heated and ventilated outboard second row seats, a heated steering wheel, and on the tech front, you've got a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster, a 15.6-inch touchscreen media system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly available for both. There's a 14-speaker Sony sound system with 2 speakers in the driver's headrest. You've also got sat-nav, a 360-degree camera, a 50-watt wireless phone charger, heaps of other USB ports on the inside, a head-up display, color selectable ambient lighting, dual zone climate control with second row air vents, and power windows with auto up-down functions for all. And look, there's plenty of standard spec and tech in this vehicle. There's no doubt about that. But if you're thinking about $60,000 and you're thinking a hybrid SUV, here are some alternatives that you might otherwise want to consider. I think actually the best alternative to this is another vehicle from Chery, the Tiggo 8 Super Hybrid, which has 7 seats, it has heaps of standard equipment, and it has a much lower price point. That might be all you really need to know. It doesn't have as much EV driving range, but it's got plenty, and it does have a pretty efficient powertrain beyond that as well. I like it a lot. It's comfort focused and practicality minded as well. So it could be the best alternative to this if you just want to save some cash. If cash isn't necessarily a big sticking point for you, you could have a look at the Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid. I don't think that the plug-in hybrid version of the Sorento is the best model, but it starts at around $71,000 and you're getting a brand name that people know and love. And also you're getting plenty of decent tech and spec, but you have to spend up to around $86,000 to get something equivalently specified as this. So this one, well, it makes a strong argument on the bargain front, doesn't it? But also you might be worth waiting for the BYD Sea Lion 8. Now I've driven it already. I was really impressed by it. The practicality and thoughtfulness of the cabin is extremely good. It's lovely to drive, but the pricing is an unknown at the time I'm filming this in December 2025. So look, it could be the best option, but the pricing might determine whether it will be for you. What do you think? Have you say in the comments? And yeah, let me know what you'd do. Rightio, have a look at this design. Does it remind you of something Bentley-ish? Well, I think that's obviously the design inspiration here. It is opting for opulence. There's no doubt about that. I reckon it looks fantastic. This front end grille design is, well, maybe a little bit large and in charge, but the LED lighting signature and the front bumper is pretty tidy. Those wheels, not so hot on personally. I'd love to know what you think about them. They're obviously looking for that luxury factor, but I think they look a bit strange, frankly. And I think that's actually because of the short wheelbase on this vehicle. It is a long car, 4.8 meters. You'll see all the dimensions on your screen, but the wheelbase is relatively short for a vehicle of this size at 2.75 meters. So maybe that's the reason that it doesn't maybe gel as well to my eye as it probably could. But you tell me what you think about the look of it in the comments. Now let's talk about the weight of it. It is a big vehicle at 2,265 kilos, but unlike some other Chinese ones, it does have a good payload, just over 600 kilos. So you should be able to load up the fam and, well, hopefully have a little bit of weight to spare. But when it comes to the towing capacity, it's also got a decent capacity for a Chinese vehicle. So many Chinese SUVs don't actually have the capability to tow. This one does though, at 750 kilos unbraked, 1500 kilos braked. Now this rear end design, quite tidy. It's got quite a bit of chrome there, so that's a bit shiny, but at the back you've got the LED light bar as you would expect. Now this is not the most elegant finish, but at least it looks better than having some empty holes at the bottom of the tailgate because of those Chinese number plates, which are a bit differently shaped to ours. But yes, you can see got a few badges on the back to really identify it in traffic. But let's have a look in the boot, see what space we are working with. Okay, we are starting off with the third row folded flat. So you can see there, if you're running this as a 5-seater, you're going to have plenty of cargo capacity on offer. The number is on your screen. But let's pull those seats up and see what we are working with as a 7-seater. It's pretty simple, people. They're just pull tabs. So you just do like that. And then on the other side as well, easy peasy. You should be able to do it one-handed if you've got an armful of kid or bags or whatever. But yeah, you'll see the 3-row up cargo capacity on your screen right now, and that is pretty good, I've got to say. Now, there are some inclusions in the back here which are pretty handy. So you've got a little push-out hook there. You've also got a space for a cargo cover, and you've also got here a tyre repair kit, so you don't get a spare wheel. But underneath the floor, let me just move that out of the way, you've got, well, whoops, that fell away a little bit more than I expected. You've got a safety triangle, and that's about it. There's not actually that much more to see there. Just put that back in place, and you've got a light on that side, and again, no shopping bag hook there. But yes, you could easily fold those seats down and have a 6-seat layout if you want, or 7 seats or 5. But hey, pretty spacious and pretty practical. Not the best, but pretty decent, I would say. So let's check out the rest of the interior. Okay, let's have a look at the interior of this $60,000 SUV. Does it feel it? Well, in a lot of ways, yes, it does. By modern standards, it's ticking boxes, people. Firstly, this massive screen. I mean, let's talk about it. 15.6-inch screen. I remember having a computer with a smaller screen than that at home when I was a kid. Yeah, it is a big screen. There's no doubt about it. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is great, and the responsiveness is pretty good. This system is something that you will need to get used to. It does have quite a few menus on menus, but let's go first into the climate stuff, because you do have, as you can see, a relatively simple setup here. You've got dual zone climate, so you can adjust either side. You've got a fan slider up the top there as well, and you can adjust where the airflow is going down here. You've got demisters, you've got recirc. It just floats away every now and then. Oh, there we go. See, this is one of the things that can be a little bit fiddly. There we go. You've got air ionization and your aircon stuff. And also you've got your steering wheel heating button there. Now, if you want to go into your seat controls, you can do that by the seat icon down there. You can do steering wheel heating there as well. Seat heating in the 4 seats that you can see there. So not the third row, but the window seats for the first and second rows. You've also got ventilation for the window seats of the first and second rows too. And you've got massage functionality for both front seats. Now, those names for those massages, yep, you've got wave, catwalk, cross, relieve, and jump. I don't think I want to be jumping in my seat when I'm driving, but there you go. So look, that's all fantastic. You get used to those controls pretty easy. You've got a drop-down box as well, and you can configure that to suit what you want as well. So you can hit that little box icon up there and adjust some things to basically tailor it to be how you want it to be. So if you don't think that you need your ESC off function there, like you're never really going to turn off your stability control or your hill descent control. If you don't want that there, you can quickly and easily add your lane departure prevention and your driver monitoring system and whatever else you want. So that's pretty neat, I would say. The fact that you can configure that pretty easily is a nice touch. You've got a brightness slider there as well, as you can see, and a volume scroller. So look, it doesn't have a volume dial in the traditional sense, but you've got a scrolling system there for that. Different drive modes as well, so eco, normal, sport. I don't know why they insist on having a voice prompt to tell you what you've changed it to, but you can see up there, it also changes the display. So a little bit, not too much. But as you can see, I've just put it into one of those off-road modes and it kicked the engine into life, but hopefully we'll get it back to EV mode because that's what I've been prioritizing. Now, there we go. I can do that using that button right there. So EV hybrid, HEV is hybrid electric vehicle, in case you're wondering. Now, so down here, you'll also find that you've got another little menu control set up. So you can go into your surround view monitor, or AVM for a round view. You can auto park using the button up there. You can do reverse tracking. So if you've parked yourself in a spot where you're not comfortable reversing out of, it will actually be able to reverse for you. That's pretty excellent technology. And you've got a 3D view here as well, so you can quickly see around the vehicle. You can zoom into certain sections, the front, the back, whatever it may be. And look, I reckon that that is a good bit of technology. So that's great. You can also set up a gallery so you can have some photos if you want to save photos. And APA is Auto Park Assist. You've got a manual on this car. It's not a physical manual, it's an electronic manual, so you can dive in and find out what you need to find out. And then there's other settings as well. So the settings screen where you might want to get to specifics about the drive experience, how high you want the tailgate to open, unlocking and locking the doors and all that sort of stuff. And also keeping an eye on your vehicle status in terms of the EV, power saving mode, what setting your regen braking is on, and also you can configure it so you can either see your odometer as the total up there, so yep, or you can have it as hybrid driving or EV driving, see how much you've done of each. So that's a neat little touch, I would say. So look, I think that a lot of this you will get used to pretty easily, and the fact that you can relatively simply get into your vehicle settings by using the drop down box and changing things if you don't like them is just a nice touch. It makes it far easier to get along with this car than it might otherwise be. Now, let's have a look at this screen as well, because you do have a digital instrument cluster. You can change that configuration if you want, but you can see there I've got the fuel tank capacity number on that side and my battery range number on that side. You can change it to be dynamic as well, so depending on how you're driving, it will change your range expectation. But look, that's all pretty simple to get your head around. There is a head-up display as well, as you can see there. So that's nice. And the steering wheel controls, I wish they weren't this shiny black sort of haptic style finish, because I don't love that personally, but you'll get used to them, I'm sure. It just means you might want to carry a microfiber cloth to clean them off. And you've got your cruise controls on this side and a favorites button there. Here you'll find a stalk with wipers and washers and also high beam adjustment, but you do have a traditional light adjuster there, which is actually, I mean, a bit old school. I mean, not through the screen, how dare they? And you've got a gear selector on this side, so it is a column mounted gear selector, push in at the end for park. You've got electric adjustment for the steering column height and also the reach, so that's good. And you've also got a wireless phone charger here, so just one, but this little section here might prove handy to place another one if you need to. The vents are pretty tidy, nice piece of design, nice feel to them as well. And the finishing on the dashboard is also quite nice. Now, it's not as leery as some other vehicles that you might be thinking about, but it is very understated. And I like the inspired by Mercedes seat controls on the doors. And also the finishing down the door is quite tidy. You've got decent sized pockets in those doors. You've got the Sony sound system as well. It's a big sound system, and it even includes headrest speakers. So look, in there, when you're on the phone, the speakers will come through behind you. So it's kind of neat. But I have had some issues with this car in terms of like using voice control for sending texts on Apple CarPlay. It just hasn't actually been able to send a message. It's frustrating when you're driving and you know you shouldn't be concentrating on anything else but driving. But anyway, this seat here, the passenger seat, has plenty of adjustability and comfort as well. Electric adjustment, you've got the walk-in feature as they call it, so you can make more space for whoever's getting in the back there. Great big headrests as well. If you're tall, you might find it's maybe a little bit high, but hey, I'm sure you'll be right. You've got a decent sized glove box there, and underneath here you'll see you've got some USB ports and a big storage tray too. Cup holders between the seats. You've got some buttons here, physical controls for your aircon and switching between hybrid and EV modes, and your demisters if you want to use those, and a drive mode dial selector if you prefer to use that. Problem with this section here is it's very shiny and very, very reflective if the sun is coming in from that angle. So I found that yesterday, it was annoying. Now, between the seats here, you will find you've got a decent sized center console bin with a light, and it is ventilated as well, so you can keep things cool or warm depending on what your temperature is set at for the rest of the car. I reckon the interior finishing here is quality. Above, you've got an illuminated vanity mirror with a ticket holder. That's always handy. These sun visors don't extend out, which is probably a shame. And I guess one thing that maybe some other bigger SUVs have that this car doesn't have is a digital camera mirror. That would help because, as you can see, even just the headrests are bloody huge. So it might be an issue if you want to see out the back. But then you've also got your controls for the shade for your roof. So it does have a rather large sunroof with a proper thick shade rather than one of those thin meshy ones. You can open it halfway or all the way, and that glass section opens as well. So bloody impressive in terms of the design, the finishing, and the material quality feels really good. I've just stepped out of a brand name that is better known at $90,000, and this feels better than that. So, right, let's check out the second row space, hey? Okay, this seat is set for my driving position. I'm 6 foot tall, and look, at this current setting, I have enough knee room and a good amount of foot room to be pretty comfy. Headroom is also not too bad with that sunroof accounted for, and you've got grab handles as well in the back seats. Only the driver's seat misses out on a grab handle, and you've also got these privacy screens or shades, so you can keep whatever's out there from getting in, or just the light at least. Now, let's have a look at the usability back here. So, decent sized mat pockets on both seats. You've also got large bottle holders in those doors and big storage cubbies in the grabs as well. Look, I like the design of these just bright and simple elements to the door, and soft padding on the door as well. And you've got vents in the B pillars, which is actually pretty handy. You've also got vents down here, which is great. So you've got lots and lots of airflow, in theory, going to the passengers in the back, and you've got a fan adjuster down there, and you've also got your ventilation or heating controls available for those in the back to fiddle with, which is great. Now, this seat is also a split fold setup, so I can slide this side forward and make myself more uncomfortable and make those in the back a bit more comfortable in theory. But yeah, look, it's a 40-60 split, the bigger portion being on the curb side. So configure it with your kids' seats how you will, but you've got ISOFIX points in those window seats and also 3 top tethers for this middle row of seats. So that's good. A couple of cup holders between the seats. Now, I guess I'm going to have to get into the back and show you how easy or not it is. Just be mindful, like I said, these headrests are quite large. So yeah, okay, let's see what the access is like to get into the back here. Allow me to extricate myself. Now, you do have these handy little points where you can tuck your seat belts away. Okay, so this seat does have a tilt lever up the top here, but I've just found a design fault with it. I was trying to figure out what the hell I was doing wrong. I've had to move the driver's seat forward so that this will reach its final position in order for it to reset. Otherwise, it will not go back. So I was putting it forward like that. That was as far as it would go. That's not far enough. It needs to push forward and click before it will allow you to tilt it back down. Otherwise, this is what will happen. So let's go like that. Then, okay, now it's working. I don't know. It's a brand new car. Maybe that's just, oh, no, there we go. It's locked. So yeah, that will take some getting used to. Hopefully they can come up with a better way of doing that, because you shouldn't have to friggin' shove it that hard into the driver's seat, which might not be in that position anyway if you want to get into the third row. And if you are planning to go to the other side, let me do it. You don't have the option of the tilt slide on the passenger side. So this is a problem, people, because if you don't have that tilt slide mechanism for this side, instead you just got that, then you have to sort of clamber over the top of the seats to get to the third row. Okay, let me get in there and show you what it's like. This is silly. Cars shouldn't be this silly. There we go. I've pushed it forward, so it's let me go. Okay, now in I go. There we go. Now it's going to let me get trapped in the back here. Now, yes, so is it even worth it? That's the big question. Look, I've got my knees hard up against the seat ahead. I've got a knees up position, and I'm extremely uncomfortable in terms of height. So if you are planning to buy this car for 3 rows of lots of space, don't, because it's not going to be the right car for you. It is very tight in the very back, so just keep that in mind. Now, you also don't get any child seat anchor points in this third row, so that could be an issue further than what has already been evident. And I'm going to also tell you something about the safety in the third row as well. We'll get to that shortly. But there you've got some storage for your cup holders and maybe a little bit of extra storage stuff. And you've got the same on this side, and that's a hard plastic finish. You don't have a great view out the back either. So look, I would say, even though you've got lights in the back, you don't have vents. This is not the most practical 3-row SUV. Not impressed. Under the bonnet of this SUV is a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and it has a decent amount of power in its own right, but it's the combination of that and 3 electric motors which pump out a huge combined maximum output, which you'll see on your screen now. 315 kilowatts, 580 newton meters. That is a lot, and getting the job done in terms of the transmission is a 3-speed hybrid transmission, or 3DHT I think they call it. Now, it's all-wheel drive as well, so that should mean that, well, at least you've got extra traction if you need it with all that grunt. But let's talk about the charging and fueling considerations for this vehicle. Okay, if you need to fill up with petrol, you'll go to this side. That's where your petrol filler cap is. Yeah, it needs 95 RON premium, but it can run on E10. If you can find that combo anywhere, that might be okay. But on this side is where you will find your charge port location. So yes, you do have AC at a rate of 6.6 kilowatts, and you'll see how long that should take to recharge the battery on your screen now. And there's also DC, which is pretty handy. If you do need to quickly top up on the open road, well, you can do that. If you want to prefer to run this as a full EV all the time, well, you can theoretically do that as well. The petrol tank is pressurized, so your fuel shouldn't go stale. And let's talk about this battery pack, people, because it's a pretty big one, actually. 34 kilowatt hour NMC battery pack, allowing it 170 Ks of EV driving range, which should mean, well, you'll be able to do the commute to work and back a couple of times before you have to recharge, in theory at least. And as I said, it might actually work out that you're using this more as an EV than as a plug-in hybrid. So EV when you want it, and petrol available if you really need it. But let's go drive it, and I'll tell you what both experiences are like. Okay, so what's this Tiggo 9 like to drive? Well, obviously the big talking point is the Super Hybrid system. So it does have a huge battery pack with loads of EV driving range. And I'll get to what the actual realistic expectation is for that driving range in the next section of this video. But I am really impressed by the way that it behaves as an EV. If you are the sort of person who's thinking, I just want a long range plug-in hybrid that has a petrol tank in case I need it for those, you know, distance trips on the holidays or whatever it may be, I think this one will tick the box extremely well, because like I said, the claim is like 170 Ks of EV driving range, and I'll tell you what I achieved in the next section. But this is a lovely EV style SUV to drive, and it's not necessarily the thrill machine. If that's what you're looking for, there are better options out there, but it's edging into like the premium style drive experience. It's soft mostly. It does have pretty big wheels and low profile tires, so you can pick up a little bit of bumpy stuff in the edges of the road surface. So that might be something that might annoy someone, but I actually feel like this is a pretty decent well-rounded drive experience for this type of SUV. The suspension is otherwise quite soft, and you've also got a steering system that is, well, vague is probably a good way to describe it. It's not really offering much in terms of feel or feedback to the driver, but it is light, and that means that it is also urban parking duty friendly. So it is going to suit the needs of those who live urban and want to commute with full EV capability, and then, you know, have the petrol tank as a backup. So I think that if you are that person, you will really, really appreciate the experience here, because really there's not a whole lot to complain about in terms of just the general refinement, the comfort, the usability, and the camera system and the safety stuff in terms of the tech is really good. So you've got that surround view camera, it's easy to park because of that, and like I said, if you find yourself in a spot of bother, it can reverse out of a position for you or just park the car for you as well. So all that might be music to your ears if you're not the most confident parker of a large car like this. So yep, all those boxes ticked. It's refined, it's comfy, and it's easy to drive. Now, as an electrified vehicle, it does have a regen braking system. So there are a few adjustments that you can make to the feel or the assertiveness of the regen. In the most assertive mode, it's not like single pedal. I've got it in that mode right now, but it will sort of slow down to walking pace, and yeah, it's good. I like the fact that it will go to walking pace. 5 k's an hour is where it sort of settles down at. But if you are worried about the brake pedal feel in terms of regen braking, because that can be an issue, this one is actually pretty bitey at the top of the pedal, like bitier than some of the others. It's not too bad in terms of the brake response, and the pedal progression is decent. It might be something you need to get used to a little bit. Doesn't feel like a normal car, but it does feel better than some of the other hybrid and electrified models that I've driven. Like lots of plug-in hybrid models, this car has a very, very low claimed fuel consumption figure. It's just, I don't know, a quirk of the testing procedures from Australia that, well, the numbers are just silly. 1.3 litres per 100 Ks. It's got 170 Ks of EV driving. So when does that calculate out? Well, I guess it's just a guide. You won't necessarily see 1.3 litres per 100 Ks in most driving situations. And indeed, the EV driving range for this car, as I said, is a lot. It's 170 Ks. So whether that is realistic or not might depend on the sort of driving that you do. But for this test, I wanted to see what it's like to do a full charge to empty, or empty, because this battery doesn't actually fully deplete. It always maintains a level of charge in the battery to try and make sure that, well, it's not burning itself dry, and that you've got some effective EV assistance if you need it, and so it can switch back to hybrid. Anyway, so you say 170 Ks, realistically probably more like 150, 140 Ks, because it'll probably want to keep about 25 kilometers of range in the battery. So in theory, around 145 Ks. On my test, I saw 138 kilometers of EV driving before the hybrid system kicked into life. And then I wanted to do an additional 100 kilometers at least to see what the fuel consumption is like as a hybrid. Because, you know, if you are going to commute a lot and do lots and lots of EV commuting, that's great. But what happens if you need to go hybrid driving beyond that? Well, Chery doesn't offer an official number as a depleted battery hybrid EV driving sort of fuel consumption figure, but what I've seen is actually pretty good. You'll see it on your screen now, and that was, as I said, over at least 100 kilometers of driving as a hybrid. So I reckon that if you are looking for the commuter car that has the backup of a petrol engine to allow you to do that when you need to, and to drive fully electric when you want to, this is a very strong proposition. And I mean, the fact that you could probably commute a few days to work each week, basically potentially free if you are doing that using solar power or whatever, then yes, it makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? But also, it's pretty efficient as a hybrid, so if you end up going for a longer trip, well, you should be able to see reasonably realistic fuel consumption figures, as I did. Now, what about the fuel requirement? Well, it does need premium juice, which might be a consideration for some people, but hopefully you won't be using it all that often. And it is a pressurized fuel tank, so it shouldn't go stale, which is good. And also there's the fuel tank capacity, which you'll see on your screen. And indicatively, it should mean more than 1,200 Ks of combined driving range. In actuality, you might see 1,150, but the indication I'm getting is that this is a pretty efficient vehicle, and it's going to tick that box if that's what you are looking for. The Tiggo 9 hasn't been tested by ANCAP or Euro NCAP, so there's no rating to speak of, but it does have a whole host of active safety technology as standard. Thankfully, it's not too frustrating either. So you've got autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist, and junction detection. There's adaptive cruise control. You've got lane keeping assist. It can do stop, start, and steer stuff for you on cruise control. It can even obey speed limits if you want it to. It does have a speed limit recognition system, but it doesn't beep and bong at you, which is great. You've also got a driver monitoring camera system, which is actually pretty well calibrated. It's not too fussy. And you've also got the regular lane keep assist, which you might want to switch on, but it's actually not too bad in terms of its manners either. There's blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and a surround view camera with parking sensors and auto parking. So from the safety perspective, pretty much every box has been ticked by this vehicle. And when it comes to the airbags, well, maybe every box hasn't been ticked, because there are 10 airbags fitted. There's dual front side, a driver's knee airbag, a front center airbag. There's rear side airbags for the second row occupants, and curtain coverage for the first 2 rows, but no curtain coverage for those in the back, which could be, again, another reason why this might not be the perfect 7-seater, but it might make a more appealing 5-seat plug-in hybrid with bonus seats in the back if you really need them. In Australia, Chery offers a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and the battery pack in this plug-in hybrid comes with an 8-year unlimited kilometre warranty. Now, when it comes to your servicing, there's some pretty promising stuff too. 7 years and 105,000 Ks of cap price servicing, so your intervals are every 12 months and 15,000 kilometres. The average service cost over that period is on your screen now, and that's actually pretty affordable for an SUV of this size in this class. Much cheaper than some of the big name rivals, that's for sure. And when it comes to roadside assistance, you get 7 years included as well. So very promising from the ownership perspective, at least on paper. I think it's a bit of a shame that this car is compromised for the third row comfort, and also the safety of those in the third row is under question with no airbag coverage. But what do you think? Is that a deal breaker? Because this would otherwise make a very impressive 5 and 2 bonus seats style SUV for the sort of customer who isn't going to prioritize using the very back all the time anyway. Have your say in the comments. Thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.